You thought we were done talking about Dragon Age, but no. It's back in the news for multiple reasons. Uh, least of which, apparently, they randomly announced that they are apparently the winners of the Best Audio Podcast from Tribeca X Award competition, which somehow has 500,000 followers. And they get about as much interaction as Khalif Adams. 6 likes, 9 likes, 11 likes, 14 likes. Oh, 55. Good job. 55. 7. All right. So this is clearly a botted and paid for account. It's not actual a real thing, which makes sense because I don't know how you have 500,000 followers and no one's ever heard of you, but as like an award show, but here we are, Tribeca Film. And Dragon Age is announcing that they're honored to win that award. And this comes to us from The Gamer. It says, the tie-in podcast for Dragon Age Veilguard story just won an award, guys. Hey, congratulations, right? Right? Anyone? Bueller? This comes from Rhiannon Bevan, who we'll speak about later as well. But first, before the launch of Dragon Age Veilguard, BioWare had set up a group of entirely new companions and tie them into a story that had been set up in Dragon Age Inquisition. This was pulled off with the Vows and Vengeance podcast, which ran for 8 episodes and introduced us to each member of the titular Veilguard. Now, that podcast has taken home an award of its own. Vows and Vengeance has won the prize for Best Audio Podcast at the Tribeca Festival, being named the top piece of audio media to come out within the year. This comes as the Veilguard itself has made the list of finalists at the Hugo Awards, which takes place later this summer. Man, this game's just winning awards left and right for being great, right, guys? Right? Any organization that would award Dragon Age with any award whatsoever except for its game deserves to be laughed at. This is how you fail as a company. If you start raising up the wrong things for the reasons of pushing ideology, no one is going to care about what you do because they know you're full of. And here they have the tweet from the Hollywood Reporter of officially naming the nominees and winners. Here we go. it doesn't even name in the title anything about Dragon Age. Hold on, let's search for it. Dragonfly. Up, there we go. Dragon Age. All the way. There we go. Add. Best games. Oh, it's one of those sites that scrolls up when you highlight. Immersive. Wicked RP. What? Official experience on Roblox from Wicked and NBC Universal. Okay. Best audio podcast, Dragon Age, Vows and Vengeance. Social Impact Award. Daniel Really Suits You from Human Rights Campaign. Oh, there you go. That makes sense. Environmental Impact Award, A Vital Son from Fordham University, directed by Allison Bartlett. Who are the people who watch this shit? What even is this? Tribeca Audio Storytelling Competition. All this other stuff. Nobody is going to watch any of this. Nobody. Literally, 0 people. 0 people are going to watch this or care about it or listen to any of this. But don't worry. An award is an award. And that's all they care about is pushing the awards. Then we have a follow-up from Rhiannon Bevan, who is listed already on Kotaku Detected for pushing a lot of propaganda in the past and also pushing the Sweet Baby Inc. false narrative that started with Alyssa Mercante. And in the past, we've seen Alyssa and Rhiannon retweet each other and be buddy-buddy with each other. So it doesn't surprise me. Dragon Age fans are apologizing to the writers after the Veilguard backlash. What? Is this another straw man? Is this one of those, hey, we totally saw someone say something, and now because of that, we're going to just write an entire article to push a narrative, because you better name the exact people, and it better be a lot of people for this to actually make sense. Dragon Age Veilguard launch must have been a turbulent time for BioWare. Reviews were great across the board. Yeah, because those are trustworthy. As Dragon Age the Veilguard proved to be much more stable than any recent game from the studio. What? Are we talking about the same Dragon Age game that fell flat on its face and reportedly lost EA hundreds of millions of dollars and their stock tanked after their earnings quarter and they had to announce it? That same Dragon Age the Veilguard? And a whole lot of fun to play. I mean, that's pretty subjective. Depends on who you ask. Someone that's here to push ideology will surely love it. Someone who cares about video games might say differently. However, when it got into the hands of longtime fans, they were quick to notice that the game's tone was very different from previous entries, getting rid of the bite many of us loved. Well, hold up. Hold up. You just said it was fun to play. Now you're trying to act like you're a gamer here that you loved it before. But this was still good too. Which one is it? You can't have both, especially if you're saying it got rid of the bite that you loved. And you wrote us. You didn't say others. You said us, meaning you. That's not even to get into the comments that went beyond the actual critique of the game, as some attacked the Veilguard for having LGBTQ plus characters. That is that is critique of the game. What the fuck? So now you cannot critique a character if they're LGBTQ plus. That is a shield. You're not allowed to say anything about that. You just have to consume that slop and ask for more slop. Fuck anyone that writes like this, by the way, because that is ridiculous. You can't say that. You can't say it went beyond critique of the game as some attacked LGBTQ characters. Yeah, because they don't want that slop in their game. It's still talking about the game. Even when you don't have a point to make, you will fabricate one. Something it has had from the first game. Oh, really? Trans ideology injected into nearly every conversation and decision into the game? Really? Weird, because I haven't seen that. And has only expanded upon, that's the nice way to say it's turned into a trans ideology game. Put simply, it must have sucked to work on the game, as there were many who took their criticism way too far, resulting in some higher-ups leaving social media. Oh no, they couldn't handle the criticism. Imagine, by the way, imagine being putting stuff out there for a game that you are selling to people for real tangible dollar bills, money. You are asking for money from people that are longtime fans of this series. This is not a one-off game that's never been made before. This is a series that you are bending it over and taking it out back. And people don't want that with their game. They want to have a Dragon Age game with it. So people are voicing their opinions saying, hey, we don't want you to do that to our game. We would like you to, keep the original bite that it had and expand upon that. But no, the creators, the ideologues in charge, in fact, Corinne Bush, someone who is confused about their sexuality and thinks that they are a woman when they are a man, is the person that injected trans scars into the Sims at EA before he left there, and then injected trans scars into BioWare's Dragon Age the Veilguard before he left there. This is someone injecting an ideology, ruining companies, and then moving on to the next one. Not taking any accountability, and then blaming you, the customer, for it, not buying it. And I don't know how you could look at this a different way. Now, days after the explosive report from Bloomberg. Oh, you mean the report that confirmed literally everything I reported on like 6 months ago? That report from Jason Schreier, that one, where I'm like, he said he didn't say anything new. It was all the same shit that I reported. I couldn't even make a video on it because I'm like, yeah, that's everything I already said before. I'd just be restating everything I said already from the insiders that told me these things. But of course, mainstream's not going to acknowledge YouTubers. They have to man, explosive report from Bloomberg. What about Smash JT? Oh, yeah. No, they don't like me, so they're not going to acknowledge me, even if I'm right. Which, where's your integrity as a journalist? Because you don't like someone? Interesting. Claimed that EA was the cause of Veilguard's development rules. Some fans changed their tune. So the source of this is Reddit user DJ Reyes SA 1995. This is your source for your article? A fucking random Reddit post is literally the title of your... I'm not even mad. I'm impressed. What? I was waiting for like an actual like massive YouTuber that was just like, hey, you know, I'm thinking differently about this and here's why. No, it's a random Reddit post. DJ Reyes kicked things off, apologizing to some of those who worked on the Veilguard. And many fans agree. Who? And echo similar sentiments. What? What even is this article? Dragon Age fans apologize after new report pins the blame for Veilguard's shortcomings on EA. I've been very critical of Veilguard and its tone, writing, and lack of continuity ever since it released, says DJ Reyes SA 1995. I need more wine. I can't with this. What? How does this person have a job? Holy crap. I might need to leave the cap off this right now. Yikes. I tended to put the blame on the Trinity, John Epler, creative director, Corinne Bush, game director, and lead writer, Trick Weeks. I mean, you're correct. That's literally the trio of people that the blame should fall on for the game's tone and writing, and thus failure. Yes, we have Patrick Weeks, who I've covered before. We went in detail on a live stream with him going over, he wrote an entire blog post confused about sexuality. We have Corinne Bush, who is a trans dude pretending cosplaying to be a woman. And we have John Epler that, I don't know. Maybe he's the kind of guy that just likes to sit in the corner and watch. I don't know. I don't know much about this guy, but if he's getting along with those two, there's got to be something up. If he's not going to be standing up and saying, hey, what the fuck are we doing here? You're part of the problem if you're not changing it. I assume that nobody cares about my thoughts, yet I want to acknowledge that me constantly blaming the Trinity pushed the idea that they were either the sole reason or one of the major reasons for the game's failure and the death of the franchise, they continue. But now I can safely assume that they tried their best with a bad deck of cards. Okay, so now we're just to believe that coincidentally, a trans person and someone confused about their sexuality just happened to be in charge of making a game, and that game has a ton of trans ideology injected into it. But it's not their fault. It just randomly happened. Oh, okay. Many others agree. I mean, you're on Reddit. What do you expect you're going to find there with this kind of stuff? Blaming Bush for any of that never made sense. All right. Whoever said this, you're retarded. Says Exile Ill. She came in to salvage an already sinking ship. Anyone that was blaming her at any point was uninformed. The cope here is so impressive that I am finding it hard to find words to even say how I even could reply to this. Did EA have a hand in rushing the Veilguard? Abso-fucking-lutely. Abso-fucking-lutely. But you mean to tell me that a dude that dresses up as a chick, injecting dudes dressing up as chicks in a game is not coming from that dude, and that same dude is in charge of the game? What? Where even is the logic here? How could you not say that that is injecting ideology? How could you look at the situation and not get that out of it? As I covered in a previous report on the matter, those close to the project had already credited Bush for getting development back on track. She, press X to doubt, joined the Veilguard as the director back in 2022. By the way, this is encouraging mental disorder by doing this kind of stuff, and it needs to be called out every time you see it. Anyone that encourages the mental disorder is part of the problem. And despite many of the creative decisions having already been made then, as well, by the way, bullshit. You trying to tell me that Tosh was a character when Trick Weeks was the lead designer of Tosh before Trick Weeks came in? That makes no sense. What? As well as the disastrous pivot to multiplayer and then back to single player, which, you know what? I'll give you that. I'll give you that. That's on EA. That part right there. Yeah, that's on EA. I'm not going to blame Corinne Bush for that. I'm not. But that's not why the game failed. There could have been a good game there. But instead, you hired people that were ideologues, agenda pushers, activists, people that didn't give a shit about the authenticity of where the game came from, and instead cared to push their agenda and ideology. That's why the game failed. It seems that many are realizing this now, as one of the most upvoted posts in the Dragon Age subreddit is titled, "Corinne Bush saved Veilguard from far worse fate, and we owe her an apology." If you were to tell me that that is Corinne Bush in an alt account, I would say, yep, makes sense. Because no rational, normal person would say this, knowing the information that's out there. Of course, it should not have got to the point where so many in the community jump to conclusions. We'll jump to conclusions now. What conclusions were jumped to? And there are zero excuses. See this, here we have another person, Rhiannon Bevan, that hates you, hates gamers, blames you, and is telling you to apologize to the slop makers, buy their shit next time, and don't act like that again. Fuck this person. I can't with them. Holy shit. Who is apologizing? It's the weakest game in the series. The gameplay, plot, companions, all pales in comparison to earlier entries, including Dragon Age 2. I would love nothing less than to retcon the whole Veilguard and start Dragon Age 4 from scratch. Oh, many are apologizing. There was that one guy randomly on Reddit. He surely represents all the fans' feelings and the disaster that was the Veilguard. That sums up pretty much everything I wanted to say on that one. Because the cope is still strong with these journos, and they refuse to admit that they are the problem. They will deflect and blame you until they are out of jobs completely. And this is exactly why I don't feel bad. I will be cheering on the day Rhiannon Bevan announces that she has been let go from the gamer and the gamer is closing up shop. Oh, let me shed a tear when I see that happen, because holy... Anyway, I'll leave that there.